exact words. I said something similar to that. And what I said was that I feel that you were transmitting to me the opportunity for me to explore and tap into that primal essence of myself through that opportunity that came up to explore that idea of going to Greece and what it would mean to support your beloved. And in that essence, I think there was, for me, from my perspective, that you were distilling a teaching through that experience, which ultimately it's moved in a different direction, but I'm still taking the essence of that and being able to tap into that primal essence and place of both the deep desire and wanting to grow, and also being able to know myself in that way, and tap into that perspective in which I perceived it as that is something that you were transmitting both to myself, and you shared that similar teaching in a different essence in the past couple of days or so. And so I was sharing that from the idea of being able to work with everything else that is coming through from that pure intention of getting to know oneself from that place, especially with everything that is happening the way it's happening.
Well, I really appreciate you saying all of that. The first part of what you said about how you relate to the things there, that's so refreshing to hear, because I've just gotten tired of hearing all the complaining and people who say they love me and I'm the greatest, this, that, and other in the world, and not having any understanding. It seems like to me they don't understand me at all. But anyway, regardless of that, the way you're talking, that's the way I feel. So I'm shifting gears. You gave me the inspiration and really the sign to shift gears. And so, in an organization, you have like, I don't know, vice president in charge of tires, and there's another vice president in charge of transmissions. You know what I mean? So in this organization, World Evolution, I'm saying you're the vice president in charge of of assets, and particularly not all assets, and particularly the ones behind you and the ones in heaven. Would you like to serve in that way?
Yes.
All right. Well, I like it too. So anything anybody's ever said before now about all the assets, or particularly what's behind you, erase.
Yeah.
It's a blank slate now. And we'd love to know how you want to evolve this part. And Mershida is a great resource when you can't decide about this, that, or the other.
Shouldn't the summit have some input into what's done with everything that the vice president is in charge of?
Ramana,
It'll come.
can I respond to that, Ramana?
Yeah.
I was asking Mershid.
Yeah, what did she
He
say?
needs to respond.
Garuda, you're not muted.
Ramana said, hold it. Ramana, what I heard her say is, Murshid, shouldn't you have some input as to what the vice president decides, or, like you would have final say?
I'm happy to have input if he'd like for me to input. But I think Yeshua understands what I did, what my intention was to do at the succession party, which now we realize we're calling the Clear Light Tantra Collective. That's what I'm calling it now. We can call it anything. Change. We don't have any official things, so I mean, we might call it something different tomorrow. But there were 8 people there. That's right. There were 8 people, and we invited anybody to come that wanted to. You didn't come, right?
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
And then I know Ramana came. Didn't you come?
Yes.
Yeah. So anybody could come who want to, and I was focusing on completing the command. To me, it's a command, but it's also an for in yoga it would be an asana. My master gave me an asana, is the way you would say it in yoga language, and I completed that. I think I was in, like 40, 50 years later, I did complete it that night. So what I know Yeshua understands, and I want to be sure everybody else understands. Murshida and I stepped down from being the leaders of this community and this version of the great work. We stepped down and we became 2 of the 8, which are the collective of the Clear Light Tantra. So really now the Clear Light Tantra is a focal point and is the leader. And so those 8 people now get to function like that book I like,
More Than Human.
More Than Human. That book, More Than Human, get to function as a unitary consciousness in 8 bodies. And I perceive, envision that the evolution of this planet is toward not individual consciousness, but group consciousness on the way to it disappearing as a star in universal consciousness. So does that help? That
Well,
help you?
I have a question. I thought I was asking about the Sangha as a whole having some input into final decisions, because it sounded like Yeshua wanted to sell the assets to raise $10,000 for Shantaya to go to Greece. Maybe I misunderstood him.
Yeah, you definitely did. He's not. I a long time ago, before he signed up for this job, I offered this job to anybody that wanted, and they could have 10% of everything they sold if they wanted it. So they could not have it, or they could take 10%. And I a long time went by, nobody bid, and then he said he would like to do it, and then that first group of things that he sold, he got 10%, and that maybe he's applying that to Greece or anything else. Maybe he already put it into something else, but that's his own bank account.
Oh,
That's by agreement.
oh. Okay, I didn't realize it was Yeshua's bank account.
Does she understand or not?
I don't know.
It sounded very, well, asked her, I don't want to, it'll start to become incredible rumor thing if she
Yeah.
doesn't understand.
Prominent important that you understand that Yeshua sold assets with Esau's permission and received 10% of the sale by agreement. And that 10% is his to do with what he wants in his life with his own projects.
Whatever.
It's simple.
If he wanted to spend it on candy, it would be okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand that before.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
You do know.
Now you do. Good. I just didn't want something misunderstood to happen, and then people would talk about it, and they'd pass somebody else, and they'd talk about it, and all of a sudden there'd be this guy that was stealing everything and going to Greece, and taking it with him because he rented a truck, and
That's called telephone.
the truck's going on a boat, and he worked for that, what?
That game is called telephone, remember?
Yeah, telephone. Has anybody ever heard of telephone?
Yes.
Yeshua, what were you gonna say? You're muted. Mute.
We can't hear you, Yesh.
Oh, and he can't hear us.
Yeah, you can't hear us. Uh-oh.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, awesome.
Start over.
I was just sharing, and I wanted to share this from Ramana, and also for everyone, that I feel that the quote unquote position, if you want to give it a title, for me, I've always viewed it, and I've seen this opportunity now since starting to work with the bikes as really just an opportunity to hold the higher level of awareness of everything that we have in our quote unquote possession under the New Being Project, and things that have been experimental and inspired through ISA for now what I'm seeing, the 8 of us and the rest of the community involved to birth into other projects from ISA's inspiration, or whatever that instrument or asset, however it spoke to him. And by no means does my word go above anyone else's. I want to be considered equal to everyone else and to work with everyone else. Like, that's my main. I said that was my main goal in all of this, is to learn how to work well with others when it comes to these projects, and be able to just support with the gifts that I have and work with everyone else and their gifts in creating the things that we all want to create. And so that's the perspective I've been really holding. And that's why I have dedicated the next 3 to 4 days of being here in the energy of this space to really be with it, to sleep in it, to work with the inspiration and allow everything to come to me. And there's also organizational pieces and things that I'm doing as well. But that's my intention and everything that I'm doing and wanting to cultivate to work with everyone, because there's multiple different projects and visions going on, both within our community, with Jerry, with the experimental music studio, with the bikes, and many other projects within all of that. And
The Santa Fe Church as well,
of course,
because the
and
Santa
so
Fe Center is in need of some financial support as well.
amazing.
Joshua,
And so,
thank you very much for understanding Isa's thoughts and for taking us to the warehouse. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yeah, it's my first, well, I think he took us yesterday, but I've never been to the warehouse before he took us anyway.
Yeah, I think Dustin was at the warehouse a day or two ago showing everyone certain things.
Yeah. All right. I'm just enjoying being quiet here for a minute. But anybody can start talking that wants to. And there, somebody, when he was talking, didn't he use a phrase, just a short phrase for the eating prayer?
We did say the prayer together
I
at
know,
the beginning.
when he was talking, one phrase was from some practice that we do. Was it the eating prayer? Did anybody notice that?
I didn't.
You know, I think that might have happened in there.
Did you notice that when he was talking, he just used a phrase in his conversation?
I couldn't pick out the exact one, but in my memory, I remember that happened.
So, Yeshua,
Yes.
when you were talking, you were just talking like a normal person, but I heard you just drop in as part of your talking, a short part of one of the things, a short part or phrase out of one of the things we practiced together. Do you remember what it was?
Are you referring to the Sufi prayer that we did earlier, or just something?
I think it was from that. But I'm trying to remember which one you used. I mean, all life is holy. Okay, we know that. Plants, animals, and beings.
All must seek to live.
No, I'm wanting to go back to the first one. Let's see. What's the first
All
one?
life is one.
Yeah, all life is one. And everything that exists is holy. Plants, animals, and beings. All must eat to live and to nourish one another. We bless the lives that have died to give us food.
I believe
Go
I think it was in reference to the line that says, "and to nourish one another." I had made a
Yeah,
reference. I had made a reference that this isn't just about me and me making decisions, but to work together with everyone to nourish one another, to build one another's vision. And I feel that that potentially may have been what you were referring to.
no, you're right. That was it. That was it.
And also to work well with others. So he's bringing up
He,
one of the
he did.
four prime directives.
Yep, you came out with that. I heard that too.
Mm-hmm.
Say it
To
again.
get along well with and
Get
work
along well with others. Yeah. It's beautiful when those archetypal ideas just become part of everyday speech. It's very beautiful and very inspiring to me to think that it's going that deeply in someone. I just really noticed.
Can I,
Really noticed.
may I share one thing that I found today that I'd like to?
Yeah.
So here, okay, because it goes along with the four prime directives. And here there are an individual or two that live here, and I believe one of them was once in prison or jail or was troubled in that way, and I sense that he is searching for help through God. And I found a book here that's called Strength for Today for Men, 365 devotions. So there's a devotion and for each word. And so I found this today and I opened it up to today's word, and I'd like to read what it says today. Very similar to the daily word. April 20th, generosity. When you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Matthew 6:3-4. Doesn't it often seem like there is that guy at the party who can't stop talking about himself? All the places he's been, all the extreme stunts he's accomplished, and all the people in need that he has rescued. But in the end, his boasting often leaves us feeling a bit sorry for his hidden insecurity, rather than placing him on the pedestal he's trying to reach. In the same way, when someone starts talking about the overly generous donation that they gave, we are left questioning the true intentions behind their gift. Jesus talked about the rich, the poor, and money a lot. Giving always seemed to be a top priority for him. He even gave his life. Generosity can feel easier said than done. Sometimes in our life of surrender to the Lord, our wallet is the final thing handed over to Jesus. When we do give in secret or simply without the fanfare, we are confident in the reward and pleasure of our Father over us. Whether it's writing a check to our church or giving of our time at the local food bank, there is no need to let everyone know. It's our choice. Do we want God to be glorified or man's empty praise? God help my heart to be in alignment with the heart of Jesus. Cultivate a heart for the poor within me that would lead to generosity.
That's fantastic.
Beautiful.
And there's a payoff. It's joy. There's so much joy in just, helping out. And where the idea of you should do that if you love Jesus because Jesus is a good example becomes more like just part of your operating system, your modus operandi.
Mm-hmm.
That's very beautiful.
I've learned recently through some teachings and the way that I've started to shift my perspective is that everything that I do is, as a lot of our teachings say, is for the benefit of all sentient beings and not for materialistic or money matters, but for the opportunity for spiritual merit and for that opportunity to grow in that way and grow in that essence, grow in spiritual awareness. And so that has been the purity of my intent. That came through at the event that I went to in Orlando, which led to me doing my 10-day water fast, but that has been the intent that I've been continuing to cultivate, and just it has allowed a lot of stories about this, that, or the other to fade away because my focus is on the benefit of our immediate community, which benefits myself, and then moving towards group and universal consciousness, which benefits all sentient beings.
Wow.
Wow. We like the way you talk.
There's somebody pretty opposite of all of that in our midst. And I shared the daily word with somebody today who then said, I'm probably the only person you don't need to send that to. But think about that. I sent the daily word today to somebody. The word is positivity and expecting good outcomes. And such person then sent back, I'm probably the only person you don't need to send that to.
That's like saying, I'm the only perfect one here, and everybody else needs some work, right?
A separation, right? Like, I'm not that. I'm not the one you need to send that. I'm like, this is an inspirational message. I got inspired by reading it. It's for me. I know it's for me. I'm just baffled because now you're showing the exact opposite. So that I've had this mirror experience of the daily word and now this daily word and how you brought that through this community and what happened over there. So I'm blown away.
Hmm.
Did you point that out to whoever you're talking to?
Not yet, because it's
You're working
like
on
wrestling with an alligator.
it. It's coming.
Yeah.
So you're digesting. Oh, thanks. Wow.
Yeah.
I actually, I have experienced that many times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a person hears something they know it's true, and then they just think it applies to others because they think, well, everyone else is the one that needs work compared to me. Then the person like I would say, not that I'm perfect, I know I'm not, but around here, blah, 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 blah. Okay, Clint, do you have anything you want to talk about from New York?
No. Wow.
Did anything interesting happen in your day with you or any of the people that showed up in your life?
Very, very. What's the word? Just very not yeah, it's always interesting. No. Can I describe it?
I understand.
You know, like no. When your routine or when your life is so. I've my. What's the word? I've created. I'm thankful that I've created these parts in my life that require absolutely no you know what I mean? Like I don't have to do anything if I don't want to. I don't have to make a sacrifice to do something that I want. I just follow my work, and my work is kind of like my practice, so I can take breaks. I can something comes up, I can stop, and then I have meetings so that I can share and listen to what people who know more about it can help me to process.
Wow.
And that's every day. I mean, it's very rare. That's a normal day.
Well, you've created a life rather than you're living a life.
Yeah.
Living the life of your own creation, which is according to your ideal. And one of the things that Hazrat Naikan says is that everyone, the ideal is unique to them. It's like, so people were talking about God or the ultimate or the ideal. It's related to each person's experience and each person's soul, not that there's one for everybody. That's a very great explanation of that. You've definitely become an example of what it means to live a conscious life. And I understand, like me and everybody at Mershid and everybody else, you're also working on being more conscious all the time. By witnessing yourself, by observing yourself. Would that be right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see if Ramana. Romana, do you have anything you'd like to talk about?
No.
All right, Garuda, do you have
Yes,
anything you'd like to talk about?
yes, I do.
Well, let's hear it.
All right. I want to start a business, and it's about the people who live here, and it's called You Make the World Special Just by Being in It.
Wow, that sounds really good.
Thank you. So
Would you like-
you have to be 62 in order to move in here. So hello. We have people who are 90, and I just want to tell them that you make the world special just by being in it.
That sounds, wow, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Garuda, do you have an idea for your first project or action step with that business?
I'm going through various papers that I have done in my many years, and I'm figuring it out. I don't have a specific thing right now, but I will tell you later.
Sounds like you just said it. You're going through the papers and things that you've had.
Yeah.
And you're looking at them. That's step one, sounds like, and you're doing it.
That's what, oh, good. Thank you. Yes.
Cool.
Good.
And I'm sure
As
steps
Jim Yahazin would say,
naturally as you do that.
Say that
So-
again.
Somebody just interrupt. Say it again.
I would imagine step two will appear spontaneously as you continue with step one.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
And what would Jim Yazim say?
that you are collecting resources. You're in your research phase or revising phase.
Yes.
That's your first step. You're gathering information.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hey, Dustin, do
Yeah.
you have something you'd like to talk about?
I do.
He's got something.
I have a question for Mershida. I'd like to know if you had a chance to connect with Jenny the other night.
Yes.
Who?
Will you share?
Jenny, the tiny homes person.
Oh, yeah.
Will you share with us what came from that connection? Great question.
As far as information goes, there wasn't anything new that Shantai didn't already share with all of us. But Jenny did say that they are doing research with the parcels at Liberty Arising to see what's possible, what avenues, and she felt that possibly the artist community and music studio would be something viable in which to build the tiny home community around. And I clarified with her the parcels and the current zoning and their size. And so that I want to be sure she was clear about that, and that there is nothing on that property on any of the parcels that is permitted at this point. It's all unpermitted buildings. And I talked to her about the buildings and what they are now and how they're being used now. And so that she had a clear idea about that. And she asked about septic systems, and I'm aware we have 2 on the resident side of town, and we have 1 on the retreat side of town, so I clarified that for her. And I think that's it. That's what we talked about. And she said she would be doing research and she would get a hold of me, and I told her I would get her number from Shantaya so that we could be connected.
Great. And what was your overall impression of her?
Say it again.
I asked what Mershida's overall impression was from her.
Yeah, she seemed like an enthusiastic, sincere person with her head on her shoulders.
Nice.
She seemed like a grounded person and caring person. And even though the person sitting next to her was pretty distracting and trying to take over the conversation, she stayed focused and would just got quiet whenever he interrupted and started going off, and we both kind of waited for him to get done. And then I redirected the conversation and we were able to complete it before the bike ride, and that was a good out too. Like the fact that the bike ride was happening was perfect to get him going and to get her to the event. And so it ended up really good. So it ended on a very good positive note.
Great.
Yeah.
And when I read what you wrote, I said, that is the future of liberty. And I'm so clear about that.
Woo.
That's the future of liberty. That's Rashida and I talked about that like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Has it been 40 years of liberty? Or
40 years. It's
how long
been
have we had liberty?
94. So
100,
30.
30. Yeah, 25, 30 years ago, that was when we were just seeing what we were creating and what it wanted to be. We saw that.
But that vision that came through you occurred way back in Parowan. So we've had the vision for a long time, longer than Liberty.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that in Paradigm. Can I have a banana, Jim?
Yes.
Fonda's house was the first house, and we talked about how people could have their own tiny houses out there. And that was way back. I think Sponda was the first one. And then Ruby brought her trailer out. Those were the first two.
She's talking about, Sponda built her little cabin on the cliff of Malibu, and we moved it out to Liberty.
We did, yeah.
And then Ruby brought the little trailer, or I think somebody else brought the trailer actually, and Ruby resided in it for a while.
And I brought my teepee out there. I don't know if my teepee ever got set up, but it was a teepee that I bought here in Santa Fe, and I shipped it out there. It was at one point in the barn.
Your teepee is still up out there. I saw it last time I went.
Oh, I didn't know anybody ever put it up.
Oh yeah, it's been up for, I don't know, it seems like certainly years.
On the subject of tiny homes, I found it really interesting because I had a chance to chat with Dustin today a little bit too. But on the drive out here to Fallbrook, like within a mile or two of before you get to the warehouse on one of these side roads, it's newer than from the last time I was here. These weren't here, but there's 2 or 3 tiny homes set up alongside the road that are brand new, and they have all these brandings on them. I don't know if it could be the same company as them. I'm curious. I'd have to figure out what their company and their organization is, but I just found it very fitting that there was 2 brand new, beautiful tiny homes sitting there on the side of the road saying, "Buy me."
You've been over there. Have you seen them?
I did not see them.
Maybe they're new.
You said they're about a mile away, so I'm not sure what route you took or whereabouts, but I don't remember seeing them.
Yeah, they're really, really, really close. When you take, on my way back, I'll take pictures or a video of them.
Oh, good, yeah. But it'll be dark. You think it'll work in the dark? You should put your headlights on it. Yeah.
When I return, it'll be daytime.
Oh, right. I forgot. Okay.
I'll be here for a few days.
Rashida, do you have something you'd like to talk about? For the vice president that you are, you're like a bee in honey. You're like a real rabbit in the briar patch. You're in heaven. Is that something you want to talk about?
You're like at Blockbuster late at night, stocking up all the videos.
Right.
I've said everything I want to share tonight.
Do you have something you want to talk about?
No.
I guess we've had a good hour of Dharma Night. Does that bring up anything anybody thought of they want to talk about?
I would like to ask one more question. Earlier, and I'd like for us to also have this conversation with Shekinah as well tomorrow night. What day is? Yes, yeah, tomorrow night as well. But it came up in our daily meeting between Shekinah, Jim, and I, and wanting to learn more about the Church of the Clear Light. And if you would share why it was created or what the intention of the Church of the Clear Light is, and then if there's also a website or something that can be shared, that way I can just be more aware of that.
Yeah, I can talk about it now, but that reminds me of what I wanted to talk about. I would
And
like. Well,
yes,
say,
I would love
I
you.
didn't-
I want you to talk about what you're talking about. And I
Oh,
also want,
Uh,
never mind.
No, I'm listening. Please.
I know. It doesn't matter right now. Thank you.
Doesn't matter right now.
Well, it matters to me. You know, I'm not going to say another word until you tell me. You drive me crazy.
Well, no, baby girl, I totally forgot because it's more important that you tell what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, if you think of it, start talking again.
Thank you.
I want to focus on the second Tantra of Clear Light gathering. Because I have where are those pages? You know,
Right back there again.
I had 5 or 6 things that I wanted to talk about that night, and I printed out a little bit of something for each person. Then it just became so full that we all agreed that that was enough for them. But I was going to talk about it that night. But let me see if I could, because you've asked this, if I could read what I wrote about this when it came through.
And there's 2 things. One is the order of clear light, and the other thing is the Church of Clear Light.
Oh, this is 2 pages.
And since he's looking for those pages, I need to say, are we talking about the new Shekinah or the one that started all of this?
The new one.
There's a person called Sheikah Sophia, and there is Shekinah, and those are 2 different people.
And so how do you say it different? Sheikah?
Shekinah. There's a whole nother.
Shekinah.
Oh, you're talking about the new person.
Yeah, well, she's asking the
distinction.
distinction.
I get it.
Yeah,
It took me a while to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's my recommendation. In other words, Sheikh Hassan initiated me as a merchant. Okay. But I don't go around telling people to call me merchant. I know that is what people do in a religious organization. You have the special initiates and then everybody else. our whole focus with the New Being Project is to create something that never was before, because there might be a ton of things that are wonderful that was already created, and a ton of things that aren't, that may be a good intention, but end up going in the wrong direction. And one of them is how speech is used, well intended, to create separation. So the reason that I wouldn't want people calling me Murshid or Master or this, that, and other is because I'm just a person like everybody else. The sweetest part of the succession party was when Murshida and I stepped down from our lofty positions and joined a group of 8 as 2 of 8. So my suggestion, I think you've known that I hardly ever call that blonde, a big blonde lady you're talking about, I hardly ever call her Sheikha. I always call her Sophia.
Oh, okay.
I call her Sheikha, I correct myself. Because
Thank
I would suggest that it would be helpful to her if you could call her by her name, because in this particular case, she came to me as Marion Hopman. And like the first day or two, she was in our practitioner's house, which was in Malibu. She said, I want to be Sophia. And then she explained to me who Sophia was. And let's just say it's pretty special. I'm not going to see if I can remember her words. It's not important. If you're interested, you ask her what her words are. She'll probably remember. But the point is, I'm supporting her in being the person that she wanted to be, idealized herself to be in the first conversation. Because one of the basic ideas of yoga is first thought, best thought. So whatever comes out of a person spontaneously in the beginning, even if it goes in a completely different direction, it's off base. What wants to be created is spoken in the very beginning. So so I would suggest calling her by her name. It's just a suggestion. And if you're interested what that name meant to her, because that wasn't the name she came with. That was the name she wanted to give herself. She wanted to be. And now, whether she's promoted it or other people have fallen into it, maybe there's some feeling of competitiveness or wanting to be in a special leadership role or want to be recognized for her gifts and accomplishments. But if there's something in her that's encouraging people to call her Sheikha, that would be the New Being Project. That would be the opposite of the way the New Being Project can create a world that works like every 5-year-old knows it should. Now that's a bit of a ramble. Do you get my idea?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does. So her first name is Marianne.
Her birth name is Marion. Marion. I think Marian. But I'm not suggesting you call her that. She came here and she wanted. Basically, Garuda, your birth name is not Garuda, is it?
Correct.
What was your birth name?
Louise.
Lilies. So I'm not suggesting to call her Marion. You became Garuda, and I don't know. Do you know what Garuda is?
It means getting out poisons.
It sure does. And it also means something magnificent that crashes and burns and then
Woo-hoo!
rose again as amazing, more amazing than they were before out of their own ashes.
I love it.
And I think
Thank-
that's a really good description of you in the Dharma Night phase of our time together.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, some people don't need a spiritual name. Like, for instance, Clint's spiritual name. Do you know your spiritual name, Clint?
I do.
Bop.
Right.
That's right.
That's right.
Bob. And
Say it
yet,
again.
B-O-P, Bop.
Bob. Okay.
Yeah, like Bopsa, but also like Doody Bop, boop, bop, 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 bop. So, but sometimes it becomes your name, but Clint is so what he is. Some people, a lot of people I just noticed, whatever their name is, they don't seem like a Jim. But Clint is so much a Clint that nobody ever wants to call him anything else. It's just his name. But his spiritual name is Bob. There was a time when Lulu was 4 years old and she was in her completely visionary self all the time. And she would just walk around and out of the blue, she would give somebody a spiritual name or give them this is your true name, or this is the name I'm giving you, Bob. That's how you got it.
Like haha. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. That's right. And it's stuck. And Ruby, she gave Slash,
Flash.
and it didn't stick.
She put it on her car bumper, her license plate.
Yeah, she did. That's right.
It's cool.
I'm going to be quiet again a little bit, see if there's anything else. I can't think of anything else I want to talk about tonight. Has anybody else got something that came up?
You were going to talk about, you were talking about the Church of Clear Light.
Oh, thanks for reminding me. I knew there was something. I got distracted, I guess. So there's the order of clear light, and that would be like, in Catholicism, that would be like what's that group of monks called?
Franciscans.
Like the Franciscans. That'd be like the order of clear light. I mean, the Church of Clear Light. That'd be like the Church of Clear Light. So I can tell you what is the Church of Clear Light, but much more relevant is to tell you what is the order of clear light in which there is a church. And in this case, a church just means something really simple. This is people who have an ideal. I'll share with you the order of clear light. And the church would be people who happen to have an ideal, that's how they want to live, and make the world they live in would be in the Church of Clear Light. It's like a collection of people who have the same view and want to create the same manifestation of something from the higher world. So I love the order of clear light. The order of clear light contains nothing, yet all beings arise from it. The order of clear light contains nothing, and yet all being arises from it. No one can belong to it, yet it belongs to everyone. It is the innate being of all things and the perfect nature of each being. No one can establish it, for it was established even before the one. Yet all beings may uncover it by looking within themselves. It has no touch, yet it is touching every particle of its creation. It has no taste, yet it is the subtle flavor, the subtle taste, the subtle basis of all flavors. It has no taste, yet it is the subtle basis of all flavors. It has no smell, yet every fragrance is a celebration of its presence. It has no sound because it is even before the first pulsation. Spanda, love that word. It has no color, it is clear. Before thought, it tastes not death. Before breath, it tastes not life. It is before time and eternity. It does not exist. It does not exist, but it has friends. And they are its first pulsation. And they can come to exist in this world. Here, they are known by their inability to argue, their sense of humor, and their ability to work together in harmony. They are true, and they are the inheritors of all that is. That's so meaningful to me, and every time I share it with anybody by reading it, it's like an ecstatic experience.
Oh,
The nice thing about living in the present, once you organize, get your mind quiet enough to be in, just to be stable in the present, then you experience everything with the power, the beauty, the uniqueness of the first time. And so, wow, I can't even believe how amazing that is. And yet there was a day where I saw this and it just came through. It'd be almost like what people call automatic writing. It was coming and I was just writing.
In your barber chair, I think. Remember your barber chair?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, barber chair. Oh, I'd forgotten, but I remember. And if the Circle of Friends mandala is an expression of this. That we are a circle of friends becoming world evolution, or here to create or support world evolution into new beings as the New Being Project. That's the long version of our name.
oh,
I'm really glad you asked that question about the Church of Clear Light and the Order of Clear Light. Nothing is closer to my heart than that. So I feel like my favorite part of this description of the Order of Clear Light is this part. The description, how would you know if someone was in the Church of Clear Light? Would they have a badge that said Church of Clear Light?
You
Would they
can't
have
be,
a Church of Clear Light hat? Would you say, Garuda?
but you can't be in the church.
Because it doesn't exist. And
Yeah.
yet it can have friends. And
There's two
they
things.
are.
There's two things. There's the Order of Clear Light and there's the Church of Clear Light.
Right.
I think she's getting confused again.
Who's confused?
Garuda.
No, thank you very much. You love me so much.
Can be in the church, but you cannot be in the Order of Clear Light as it exists for everyone and it is in everything. That's the difference.
So I feel like my favorite part here clears all that up. Here they are known. It does not exist, but it has friends. They are its first pulsation, and they can come to exist in this world. Here, they are known by their inability to argue, their sense of humor, and their ability to work together in harmony. So if that's how you live, and that's a good description of people's experience of you, then you are in the Church of Clear Light. Because it's designed to create a world where everyone in it has the inability to argue, the sense of humor, and the ability to work together in harmony. But if you think about how this world would be, there wouldn't be any wars. Mm-hmm. Nobody would be starving. All of that's right there. It's just the consciousness is not there. So this is about creating a tone that represents the purity of what this world is, and the purity that as it grows to its purity, the world could be. So ask yourself, would you say that nobody's going to say, it's like more or less, go for the word more or less. Would you say, because if we make anybody perfect, then we have nowhere else to go. You don't want to be perfect. Would you say that you basically have an inability to argue? Just don't argue. I know I don't argue because I experience that the tone of arguing irritates my nervous system. So it's kind of like, you know, the thing about scratching your nails on the blackboard. You just, people argue, I have to go in another room. It just makes my nervous system crazy. So that's one thing. The second thing is sense of humor. Is there anything, even, you know, your whole family dying in a car wreck and bleeding out on the road, you know, as an example, is there anything about which you can't find a sense of humor? That's another way. If you're always able to find the sense of humor, if it's relevant, and if you often find a sense of humor of things, and people kind of know you as that, you know yourself like that, then that's a good example again of the Church of Clear Light. And their ability to work together in harmony. So I'm looking at the first people I looked at is Clint and Yeshua, and I think they work together in harmony. Would you all say you work together in harmony?
Yes.
You ever talk to each other?
Clint and I recently just had a conversation that was, my intent was how to harmoniously work together to support one another.
That's great. It's beautiful. All right. Well, this has been the best Dharma night ever, and I think I said that last night. Oops.
That's the way it should be. Right?
Exactly. That's the way it should
It's
be.
always the best.
So, Clint,
You
would
said-
you lead us? What? Go
I
ahead.
believe there's one thing that I'll remind you of that you started to talk about, and that was the second meeting of the Clear Light Tantra Collective.
Thank you.
You're
That's the
welcome.
most important thing for me right now. I would like, and it's just the second meeting will be just like the first meeting. It will be those 8 people coming together in a room, and then everybody who wants to join them, whether they're in the church or not in the church, or if they're animals or whatever, angels, if just any people want to join them, the door is open. So if those 8 people could make it a priority to figure out the earliest time they could sit together, there's a number of things that I want to share, and I also want to ask each person, what have you experienced since this alchemical transformation occurred? So, let's see. So anybody that can help me get that meeting going, that'd be great. Thanks for reminding me.
You're
I
welcome.
like talking to people better than texting if I had a choice. So sometimes just texting is perfect, but if it can be talking to people, actual people, that I pick that. Clint,
I believe
go ahead.
real quickly, all I was going to say was in the next 7 to 10 days, we set the intention to gather together as a household, which happens to be the 8 of us. And that could be a time where we could discuss together. And I'm also working towards a system for us all to be more in tune with one another's schedule and calendars so that these types of opportunities are more easily, whatever the word is. But I think that when we all sit together for that, or even be it the Ganesha portal that Shekina envisioned, that we can discuss what that would look like.
Oh,
Or we
yeah.
could have the Dharma night and then everybody could come.
Yeah, of course. We want anybody. Well, I think I'd say I agree with you, and I would probably say it a little differently. At Dharma night, everyone is welcome, and we want everybody to come who wants to be here. So every night I feel like it's perfect. Like this is perfect, that is perfect. From the perfect comes the perfect. And if the perfect were ever taken from the perfect, only the perfect would remain. So I would say it that way, and the way Romana said it is exactly also my experience. There's never any somebody's right or wrong. It doesn't exist. It's like the broken consciousness needs to see and talk that way. They're just different facets of the diamond of a life, of a collective life. They're just different, many facets, and one is not brighter or more important than the other. They're all unique in the beauty of their own creation.
I noticed that when you first mentioned it and asked who wanted to coordinate that meeting, that no one spoke up right away. And then I thought, well, why not have it at Dharma Night? Because I would love to go to that meeting.
Me too.
And I go to Dharma Night almost every night. So that would work for me. And I'm pretty sure it would work for most of the people if you pick the right night when nobody's working at night. That's in the Fab Four.
Fab before.
Mhm.
That's the Beatles, right? What is it?
Fab, she's calling, I believe, the four couples the Fab Four. I believe she's referring
That's a good one.
that way.
Well, they're very fabulous to me because they are, as in their arising, they allowed me to complete the first stage of why I'm here. So that is a big deal for me.
Yeah, and
What
I'm
you-
glad.
Go ahead.
I'm glad you and Mercida have that kind of support now that allows you to do it, to even have the succession party. That's just so great that all those people showed up. You needed that support, whether you realized it or not, and I could see it, and I prayed for it, and it happened. And then you saw it, and it happened even better. And I can't wait to see what happens next.
I hear you. The words you spoke could have come out of my mouth as easily as yours. We have one mind and two heads with individual brains in them. So, Yeshua, I didn't know it, but I got the idea tonight that you are involved to some degree in helping this second gathering to come together. And so I like Romana's idea, and let's focus it as being part of Dharma Night, because that's exactly what Dharma Night is. Dharma Night's whatever the beings want to do or talk about, whether it's something mundane like, what's the best way to replace the radiator on your car if you're still a gas car, or this kind of idea of let's make tonight's Dharma Night, let's make part of tonight's Dharma Night a meeting of the Clear Light Tantra Collective and anyone else who wants to come. How's that sound? Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
Okay, I think so too. So there are a number of people that aren't here, and whoever you talk to, about all this, would you just let them know that we got clear about that?
Yeah.
Okay, and Yeshua, I'm a little concerned we're talking too much because you're yawning, and that means you need to take a nap. Taking little naps is the best way to have constant energy anyway. Yeah, but we all know that. So, Clint, would you lead us in the closing so Yeshua can take a nap? And I think I will too, actually.
Ah!
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.